Oliver Oram, Chief Executive Founder of Chainbind, one of the digital companies, if I can call it that way.
Sure.
I don't know if I refer to it properly. Who was with the central bank governors in the last 2 years, coaching them in trying to understand the distributed ledger technology, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and everything else that evolves with it, and with them. And this year, Oliver, so then welcome, Oliver, and you are in between a number of meetings, and obviously people like yourself are always very active and very much absorbing what is taking place locally, internationally, and everywhere else. And we were not surprised of your immediate intervention, when I sent an email on last Thursday about Antigua and Barbuda being under stress,
Yes.
increasing stress from the Irma hurricane likely to come. And Irma did go in Antigua, wiped out Barbuda in accordance to the Prime Minister. And of course, our immediate reaction was what is happening with the National Bureau of Standards, for instance, other
Yes.
smart partners in Antigua or in Caribbean. But National Bureau of Standards, a very long long-term smart partner in CPTM, and with Diane Rodriguez, who is Chief Executive, very well-known professional in International Standard Organization, CARICOM, Caribbean Community, and so on, and CPTM itself. So you can't help not immediately reacting, and in my case, it was very late night. We didn't know you very well, and I didn't think you'd be immediately reacting, because I thought, who knows where you are in the plane, or who knows, in a bar or somewhere, or whatever.
Usually a plane.
But you did, usually in plane, I know, from Sweden. But you did react straight away, and what I would have liked today is, in addition to say thank you very much face to face, from, of course, Antigua, Diane specifically, but Lennox Lewis from Trinidad, Tobago, and everybody else, our chairman, Omar, George Christodoulidis, Cyprus. We wanted to say that we haven't actually took in consideration that maybe the digital landscape that we are trying to follow, particularly in the financial sector, in the financial inclusion and Bureau of Standards, that it may have some applications, direct application, and of course it does.
Yeah.
And I suppose you're not unique in your immediate thinking.
No, I don't think anyone is unique in this. I mean,
Please.
so I think disaster recovery and distributed ledger technology has been looked at, for a few years now. I mean, Consensus, one of the larger blockchain consortium companies, have looked at disaster recovery. And I think what immediately struck me about Barbuda and the complete destruction there was everyone's physical records and files literally blown away.
Personal,
medical, land registries.
Any governance.
Any governance. And if they're on some sort of main database there, and if that database is gone, the job of rebuilding is going to be very hard. And I know the most immediate concern at the moment is, saving people's lives and getting on with their livelihoods. But at the same time, in the not too distant future, they're going to think, okay, how do we rebuild this system? How do we make sure next time that we can recover this information a lot quicker? Yeah. I think what needs to be done when things have calmed down a bit is there needs to be a full analysis of what was lost and what could have been saved, or how it could have been saved should it be lost, if you know what I mean.
Or saved in such a way that
if it was on a distributed ledger technology,
yes,
or even a related database in some way that wasn't situated on Barbuda itself. So I think there's the way the islands work, they collaborate in a very good way, and they should think about that in the future. Like if one system fails, maybe if the system is shared between the islands, then they have a backup there. It's a classic distributed system, if you like, and that can actually, save them. So when they start rebuilding, we can be looking at the land registry, who lived here, who owns this,
Yes.
and where are the files? And if they're physical files, I mean, where are they now?
Your reaction was, how is the national payment system of the country? Is it
if it's fractured,
then.
and you've got, I think it's 80,000 people on Barbuda who are being evacuated or displaced. How do we get them money immediately? How could big corporates help them by saying, okay, we'd like to donate to you immediately. I believe this could be done via digital currency, so they can immediately, if they're displaced.
But if the digital infrastructure is down, how could that?
But the digital infrastructure is down in Barbuda.
In Barbuda.
But if the people were relocated from Barbuda to Antigua, they still need to access banks and accounts. But if this is distributed and held partly on Antigua, then the Antiguans can help the Barbudans in that manner by saying, don't worry, your information is safe here.
Yes.
So if you distribute the information and you don't have one single point of failure, that's the problem there.
Distributed ledger.
Exactly. Or a distributed system, distributed ledger type system. So I think, well, in my opinion, disaster recovery, it is a very good system because you don't need an instantaneous payment. What you need is to actually say, these files still exist digitally, and we can have the land registry here, or even your medical files. So I think you've got 80,000 displaced people, and somebody's going to be elderly people, and the doctors in Antigua won't know, what their medical history is or anything like that. And one of the main applications being looked at for distributed ledger technology is also medical and healthcare.
No, of course.
So
probably there's even the standards themselves, because they do have quite.
I think everything is connected in many ways, and
everything which has data sets.
Yeah, data sets that need to be stored, and every data set is of value, and this all goes to your payment system as well. If your payment system is connected to your national health records, for example.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not that it's a kind of maybe unthought about it, but you don't hear very often as part of the disaster management or immediate reaction. You hear about boats, you hear about food and whatever it is, and shelters, but you don't hear very much about the application of digital landscape into it.
No, and if you think about it now, the disorganization that is created by these disasters, and trying to organize people and trying to help people and trying to help the most needy people first. This is extremely difficult if you don't have any information or any data on the people you're trying to help. So how do you help them financially with the national payment system? How do you help them in a medical way? And then finally, how do you help them when you begin the very long process of relocation and rebuilding on the island? Where do we start, and which street do we start, and who gets informed? All of these things can be mapped out if we think about the future. So when you rebuild something, or you look at rebuilding something, think, if this happens again, how can we manage this better? And I believe, unfortunately, these natural disasters do seem to happen
quite regular, but not to that extent. But
no, thank God, no, it's not to that extent, no.
Okay. Anyway, Oliver, thank very much, and thank very much to your colleagues that you thought today. You alerted them, your company colleagues in your network. You said there are some.
I think everyone's interested in, offering help, and I think, it's the right thing. And if people do have knowledge, or even modern knowledge, if they've got other things that they can contribute, they will. I think it's only natural to do it.
Yeah. Well, the digital landscape type of people are not always immediately thought about intervening in such a situation.
No,
that's why it was also very great for you to.
No, usually you want to guy a boat.
Make a point. But thank you very much, Oliver,
you're welcome.
and
Thanks.
thank you very much
Thanks,
on behalf
Doctor.
of everybody. Really, thank you very much.